testament to her work ethic by dusting off her hands and getting right back up.
And I was doing it under cancer treatments and chemo, and I was tired and I didn't want to do it, but I still did it because you know why? It's my job.
In Hamilton, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
Mama Made Inc. is approaching their busiest season of the year, and Shula is searching for more hands on deck. If you're interested in applying for a job or you want to learn more about their services, you can find them on Facebook at Mama Made Incorporated. All right, let's check in with Elizabeth now for a look at the first forecast.
Well, clouds were in and out of the forecast all day long. Some of us saw mostly sunny skies before the sunset. Some of us saw mostly cloudy skies. Well, this was a scene earlier out of our Providence St. Joe eye cam at Polson Bay right around lunchtime. You can make out the Mission Mountains back there, a little less snow on them these days as temperatures are starting to rise. The afternoon is going to be a little choppy on these lakes because we just get this wind in the afternoon, but we also get warmer weather as well. Tomorrow we're jumping in the mid 60s, staying warmer overnight as well because of that cloud cover, starting out in the 40s. By the end of the week, we're talking 70s in the forecast coming up shortly.
A bill increasing penalties for repeat drunk drivers is now on its way to the governor's desk after a final vote in the House on Monday. This is Republican Representative Bill Mercer's bill that would increase fines and jail time for a fifth and subsequent DUI conviction, including mandatory prison time after a seventh. The bill had suffered a setback a couple of weeks ago, but was reconsidered and is now much closer to becoming law. So tonight, as we continue our look at drunk driving in Montana, we look at BAC, blood alcohol content. A Missoula County Sheriff's deputy recently told me the drunkest person he'd ever pulled over had a BAC of 0.41. That is a level that can kill a lot of people. We know that 0.08 is the legal threshold for DUI in Montana, but what does that mean, and how do you know if you're too impaired to drive? No amount of alcohol is good when it comes to driving, but Montana's legal limit is 0.08. What is that exactly? We asked Community Medical Center ER Doctor Josh Holeksa.
So BAC stands for blood alcohol content, and it's a measure of the concentration of alcohol in the blood. So typically we think of 0.08 as the legal limit, and that means 0.08 grams per milliliter. Another way to think about it, if someone was slightly over the legal limit at 0.1, that means 1/10 of 1% of their circulating blood volume is alcohol or ethanol. The more people drink, the more they think they're able to drive, and that's what makes it really dangerous.
We know alcohol impacts concentration, coordination, reaction time, the things we need to drive safely. And for some, even one drink can cause impairment behind the wheel. There are many different factors that can impact your BAC or how drunk you're getting. And those things include your age, your weight, your gender, how fast you're drinking, what you're drinking, do you have food in your stomach, are you on medication? Even altitude can play a role. The thing is, though, is that alcohol is going to lie to you and tell you you're okay to drive, when maybe you're not. So instead, maybe consult one of these. They are $2 single-use breathalyzers called Think Twice. A dozen area businesses that sell alcohol carry them. Our volunteer is testing it for us today. It measures your BAC up to 0.08, and bar owners appreciate that it is a tool and not a toy.
When I realized that it wasn't a game, which a lot of those things tend to be, people check to see how high their blood alcohol is. This one stops at 0.08, so it just gives people a good idea of where they're at after they've had a few beers or a few drinks.
People are definitely buying them.
At Cranky Sam Public House, Jen Hagan wanted to participate. In fact, there are signs on bathroom doors that she hopes will trigger a sense of personal responsibility.
We want to make sure people are safe, so we brought this in as a tool to help people think about it, to be more conscientious about it, and to also realize that in Missoula now, there's really no excuse for it because you can call Uber, you can call Lyft, there's still Yellow Cab available. Back a while ago, that wasn't available as readily, but it is now. And people do have an opportunity to make that choice now.
Both Mike and Jen are encouraged by some of the new ways their customers can make safe choices while still enjoying themselves. And while this single-use breathalyzer may not solve all of Montana's drunk driving problems, if it saves one life, then that was $2 well spent. Now, you can buy these tests yourself if you're having a house party, a barbecue where there's alcohol to give to your guests before they leave. There's studies going on right now that show our alcohol consumption has skyrocketed during this pandemic, including a lot of binge drinking. So as we head into the summer months, it's a very good time to really pay attention to safety and sobriety. Dennis?
In Helena, a major bill to implement marijuana legalization is now on its way to Governor Greg Gianforte's desk. The House endorsed the Senate's version of House Bill 701 today. They did that on a couple of votes. The decision coming just a day after the House initially voted to reject the Senate changes and send the bill to a conference committee. Then they reconsidered that vote. The bill as it stands allows existing medical marijuana businesses to become licensed for adult sales starting next January. They'll be the only ones allowed to enter the market for the first 18 months. Supporters say this was the best option for giving the state a workable marijuana program. But 701 still drew opposition from some conservative Republicans who objected to provisions like a local option marijuana tax.
Plant your flag on this day, because this was the day that we opened the door to this new tax that will find its way into communities as that argument gets traction. And we will rue the day that we did this.
In a statement to MTN, a spokesperson for the governor's office says the governor is encouraged by the progress of House Bill 701 and will carefully review the bill when it does finally reach his desk. Republican legislative leaders aren't letting up in their questions about potential political activity by the Montana Supreme Court and the state's judiciary, and they're planning to continue that investigation after the legislature completes its current session, as Mike Dennison explains.
It's been 2 weeks since Republicans created a special select committee to investigate Montana's Supreme Court and judiciary for alleged possible bias when it comes to laws being passed by the legislature. Now they plan to extend this committee past the end of the current legislature to continue their investigation. And Republicans also plan to hire a special counsel, that's a lawyer, who will have the authority to examine all records, books, and files of any department, agency, commission, board, or institution of the state of Montana. That's the language that Republicans amended into a bill Tuesday and will likely approve in law this week. The special counsel will be appointed by the Republican Speaker of the House and Senate President. State Senator Greg Hertz of Polson, who chairs the Select Committee, told MTN News Tuesday that the counsel will be assigned to that panel. GOP lawmakers also amended a budget bill Tuesday to fund the committee for the next 2 years. That brought an objection from Democratic Senator Janet Ellis of Helena.
There's a separation of powers in Montana as well as nationally, and I think this committee was set up to try to impact the reputation of the judiciary, and I will be a no.
Her comment echoed what Democrats have been saying for weeks, that Republicans know they've been passing unconstitutional laws and want to denigrate the judiciary that will be ruling on laws that are challenged. The committee gave something of a preview of one line of inquiry Tuesday in a pointed letter sent to Supreme Court Chief Justice Mike McGrath. It said he gave conflicting statements on the involvement of the Supreme Court in lobbying by the judiciary on bills before the legislature. When asked if the panel is meant to tarnish the reputation of the judiciary, Hertz told MTN News it will look into whether judges have been violating their own code of conduct when it comes to remaining impartial on laws that come before them. The committee will be issuing a report Thursday morning outlining further what it intends to investigate. The Supreme Court isn't commenting, but it will be ruling soon on whether the legislature can legally subpoena certain documents from the judiciary. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
The legislative session is set to wrap up on Thursday.
All right, still ahead, school levy requests are being put to the voters in the Flathead. But first, Missoula hosts the annual Top 10 track meet. You don't want to miss the AA winners. That's still ahead here on KPAX. We had a big high school track and field meet here in Missoula today, featuring some of the top times and marks around the Class AA going head-to-head. MTN's Kyle Hansen was there. Here are the highlights.
I'm out here at MCPS Stadium for the annual Top 10 track and field meet here in Missoula, which typically is one of the largest track and field meets in western Montana this time of the year. However, Tuesday's meet was a little bit smaller and served as a divisional preview of sorts, with only 7 of the 8 Western AA teams here to compete. Flathead's Rebecca Ecker started the day off with the win in the shot put, and she also placed third in the discus for the Bravettes. Helena led the way for the girls with 4 individual event wins, including 2 from freshman Logan Todorovich in the high and long jumps. Sentinels girls tied with Butte with 3 individual winners, as Brooke Stainer dominated the 100 hurdles right at the start, while Anya Jackson picked up a win for the Spartans here in the javelin. Hellgate had a pair of winners on the day, both in the 3,200 meter run, as the Knights distance runners scored victories from Kenzie May in the girls' race and Ignatius Fitzgerald on the boys' side. In the boys' ranks, the Spartans grabbed 6 individual winners, including Zach Cruz here, who took first in javelin and added a second-place finish in the 110 hurdles. The Clump twins racked up 3 wins for the Spartans, as Drew Clump won both hurdle races, while his twin brother Tanner Clump took first here in the 1,600-meter run. Big Sky had 1 lone winner as Cade Olson took the 400 victory, while Lewis Sanders here finished in second place in the triple jump for the Eagles. And for the relays, Sentinels boys ended the day with 1 more win as they took home the 1,600 relay crown. Meanwhile, Odessa Zentz of Helena, who won the 800-meter run earlier in the day, anchored the Bengals in the 1,600-meter relay to cap off the day at MCPS Stadium. Reporting in Missoula, Kyle Hansen, MTN Sports.
And for full results from today's top 10 meet, please visit montanasports.com.
We're going to be warming up quite a bit across western Montana Thursday and Friday. We talk about the cloud cover and moisture chances in our forecast coming up next. Well, earlier yesterday evening, we were talking about the first supermoon of the year occurring, and that happened last night, full illumination about 9:31 p.m. Well, we got some awesome photos from viewers all across western Montana. One of them was from Kathy and Mike Kidwell looking the Sapphire Mountains as that moon rose, and you can just tell how big it is compared to a regular full moon. These supermoons look a lot bigger in the sky. I mean, just check out these tiny little trees in the background there. But that supermoon was rising into some clouds. Clouds were clearing late in the night. Well, the kind of opposite is happening tonight. We had mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies kind of in and out of the forecast as the sun set. It was actually mostly cloudy for the northwest corner, and here's that cloud cover starting to move across northwest, eventually making it into west central southwest Montana. So as the moon rises tonight, again right around that 9:30 hour, you're probably going to see it pretty well early, but not so much late. It was kind of the opposite last night. But we're going to keep these clouds in the forecast, talking about our first headlines here, on and off in the forecast through Friday. But we keep out of the forecast is the moisture. So we're going to keep that cloud cover in, but stay free of the rain. There's not going to be moisture falling from those clouds. As a matter of fact, temperatures are still going to rise. So even though it's mostly cloudy to partly cloudy on and off throughout those afternoon hours especially, we're still going to be pushing the 70s by Thursday, upper 70s by Friday, even closing in on those 80-degree marks closer to those valleys by Friday afternoon. But boy, what a sunset. Again, the clouds are moving in, but before that sunset, we had partly cloudy skies making for a beautiful sunset of our St. Pat Hospital ICAM. 55 degrees. We're going to still hold steady in those 50s these next few hours. Again, that cloud cover overnight is actually going to keep us warmer. And one of the last places to get the clouds tonight will be of our First Security Bank ICAM in Hamilton, where the sun was setting just a couple of hours ago. There was some blue sky, some clouds on the horizon. Again, none of those dropping any moisture, but you probably notice a lot less of the snow on those Bitterroot and even Sapphire Mountains as you look around the Bitterroot Valley. So here come those clouds. They move through to the early morning hours. 6 a.m. mostly clear for the northwest corner, but that's very short-lived. We're going to get these short bursts of sunshine. As we say, moisture-free as clouds move in and out. But as we look at Wednesday afternoon, moisture stays off to our northwest, not really even moving anywhere close to us. Kind of develops across the divide and starts moving across north central Montana, a little downsloping happening there. Our area just staying cloudy, but again, moisture free on Thursday. And even with these clouds, we'll be in the 70s in the forecast. So there is much warmer air still moving in, even though we have cloud cover, something you don't usually see hand in hand, but that's exactly what's going to happen. Not only Thursday, but Friday as well. And that's exactly what we see in our 7-day forecast. Check this out. We're going to go the next 3 days from 68 on Wednesday to 76 on Friday in Missoula. Again, clouds moving in and out. It's not going to be an all mostly sunny day or all mostly cloudy day. It's going to be a mix of everything these next few days. And then for the weekend, that's when we add in that moisture. So 68 to 61 Saturday and Sunday in Missoula. Hamilton, we drop to the low 60s on Sunday, which is actually right about average for this time of year, as a few isolated showers start moving in and out of the forecast. But check out those overnight lows. No freezing points are going to be in the forecast over the next 7 days because, again, cloud cover at night keeps us warmer. We're just going to warm up too much during the afternoon to even drop close to that 30-degree mark or 32-degree mark as we stay in the 40s overnight, and then we're jumping to the mid-70s in Kalispell on Friday.
Our KPAX-TV and Republic Services One Class at a Time winner this week is Corvallis 4th grade teacher Katie Wickham. Republic Services Municipal Manager Chad Bauer presented Wickham with a $250 check, which will be used to buy an axolotl and the necessary supplies for her class. For those who don't know what an axolotl is, my son has one. They're very cool, kind of like a salamander or a lizard, and they live underwater. The award would allow Wickham to buy the tank and all the filters and things to go along with the critter. Her goal is to teach her students about responsibility and kindness.
Taking care of a pet requires a lot of responsibility, and some kids don't have the opportunity to have a pet at home, as well as it requires the kindness to know how to be around it, not running around, not tapping on the tank, teaching them different things with that, and also being able to incorporate different science or writing lessons around it.
If you're a teacher, could use some extra cash to help for your class, you can apply for One Class at a Time grant on our website.